Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for 10 minutes to discuss how you can support well-being within your team. This morning, we're returning to the social climate building block of well-being and our exploration of how leaders create a sense of community within their teams. Now, if you remember last week, we talked about the importance of listening, and speaking in general, and today we'll focus specifically on how we can support a climate in which people feel we value and listen to their opinions. But before we move on, let's just pause for a quick language check here. What's your immediate reaction to the word opinion? Is it positive or is it negative? You know, to be quite honest, I had never really thought about that much until I started preparing this talk and realized how vocal people are about their personal opinion about opinions. There's one group for whom most opinions are suspect because they say we value facts and opinions aren't facts. Others are defending their position that no one gets to question my opinion and is absolutely my right to believe this. And then some others are also expressing blatant disregard for others' opinions, suggesting that to listen to them may distract us from our goals, vision, purpose, or truth, even if we're disregarding the facts. So the result of this, unfortunately, is that we as leaders may have some work to do to encourage a climate in which diverse opinions are welcomed and shared. Now, some writers, and I was surprised by this, but some writers are even advocating the fact that we stop using the word opinion and that we substitute words like input, feedback, thoughts, suggestions, perspectives. But I'm going to leave that completely up to you. But how are we going to create a climate in which people truly believe that their opinions count and that it is safe to share them? As human beings, we are super alert to signals that our input is not respected or that our opinions will lead others to reject or criticize us. So when we don't feel safe offering our opinions, it impacts our engagement in the community and our level of trust. So at a minimum, as leaders, we have to communicate and constantly reinforce the need to listen to others' opinions with respect. Now, if you remember in session 13, when we talked about trust, we learned that involving others and seeking their input is a key trust building behavior, as is giving and receiving feedback. And this is a perfect example of why trust building begins with us. We give trust by inviting our employees to share what's on their minds. And then back in episode 10, when we learned that Macmillan and Chavez include influence as one of the 4 elements of sense of community, we discussed the fact that influence includes that belief that my voice counts, and that when I speak, others listen and often act on my input. Influence also includes a community member's willingness to listen to others and consider their input. Employees who feel that their opinions count are more likely to be engaged. They're more likely to have higher levels of loyalty, productivity, discretionary effort, and engagement in improvement and performance-focused advocacy. Unfortunately, according to Gallup, only 1 in 4 employees strongly agrees that their opinions count at work. Now, if we could get even 2 out of 4 employees to strongly agree that their opinions count, productivity increases by 10%. Turnover decreases by 20%, and safety incidents, which are so important to us, decrease by 33%. So perhaps the most important challenge is our ability to create a culture in which we invite and welcome diverse opinions, where people feel safe to offer an opinion without fear of shaming, retribution, or discipline. And although diverse opinions can be hard to hear sometimes, they offer valuable insights and perspectives, as well as new ways to think about old challenges. And Stephen Covey reminds us that our strength as a team or organization lies in differences and not in similarities. Now, a recent book, Unleashed, by Frances Frye and Anne Morris, reinforces the importance of seeking and including diverse perspectives. When we don't encourage or protect space for diverse options, we limit the information that's available to us in our organization. So if you look at the top picture, that's information just from unmanaged, non-diverse teams. But similarly, if we only build homogeneous decision-making teams, we have limited information to guide us and to work with. The greatest benefit, they say, and a huge organizational trust builder is that when we foster inclusive teams that offer new and important perspectives to inform organizational decision-making and strategy, then our employees thrive and we thrive. Daniel Boorstin wrote decades ago that the greatest obstacle to discovery is not ignorance, it's the illusion of knowledge. Sometimes, as leaders, we don't even know what we don't know, but our employees and our frontline colleagues may. And if we welcome their input, they can provide valuable insight. So how do we encourage opinion sharing? We want to actively involve people in conversations to discover and solve problems and find opportunities for improvement, and have that active engagement start early in the process of any problem solving. We want to be using multiple methods, both formal and informal, to get input. That can be meetings and huddles, suggestion boxes or boards, conversations by email, text, or phone call or Zoom call, formal surveys, informal surveys, rounding and listening sessions. And one of the things that is most recommended is welcoming face-to-face time for opinion sharing. Do your best to communicate that you have an open door policy for employees who are willing to share their opinions, feedback, and ideas. And once that door is opened, figuratively or literally, commit to active listening. Be genuinely curious. Remove distractions, and that's okay, phones, computer screens, and so on, but also remove physical barriers. So it's best not to sit behind a desk when we are engaging with people, to invite them to share opinions with us. Allow the person to speak without interruption and give them time to develop and express and finish their thoughts. Take time before you respond. And if you notice that you're becoming defensive or you want to challenge or disagree, just take a break, take a breath, and realize you don't have to respond immediately. You have time. You have plenty of time to think about what you want to say, even if you don't respond until maybe a day later. When we're in a crisis, such as now, there may be a temptation to limit opportunities for feedback and opinion by to save time, money, and resources, right? And by doing that, according to a recent Gallup article, we send 3 negative messages to employees. The first is that if we are not opinion gathering, the crisis must be very disruptive if we're canceling feedback opportunities. This magnifies their sense of the crisis and an employee's fear of the crisis. Secondly, it communicates to employees that we only value their opinions when things are going well. And thirdly, it feels like procrastination and a delay in the organization learning what employees need now and not at some undetermined future time. Obviously, we want to minimize survey burden and unnecessary data collection, but creating many opportunities to provide real-time input and feedback sends a positive message to employees that we care about them, their experiences, and their opinions. So during disruption, we need to learn about their expectations and their changing needs, their experiences, whether those are changes, challenges, successes. If they're remote working, what's that doing to them? We need to understand if there are any changes happening in teamwork, if they're experiencing burnout, and of course, we need to know about their well-being. At its heart, our commitment to welcoming opinions is a commitment to honoring our human need to connect, have a voice, contribute to our community, and be heard. Give your employees the gift of your presence, your openness, and your respect for their wish to be part of solution finding. And that brings us to the last, but far from the least component of welcoming opinions, and that is action. Employees feel heard and valued when they can see that leaders welcome, consider, and act upon their input. Not responding to employee input is a fatal flaw. It leaves employees feeling disrespected when the input they provided disappears into the organizational ether, never to be spoken of again. So be sure to close the loop on the input by explaining how the input contributed to decision-making. And if you can't act on their input, explain why respectfully. So here are today's tips. Agenda tip 21. Include opportunities in meetings to share input and also communicate the impact of your team's input on decision-making, so you close that loop. And manager tip 21. Practice agenda-free listening. Challenge yourself to remain open to and grateful for the diverse opinions that your colleagues are offering. As always, thank you for joining us today. And before you go, please give us that gift of your feedback by answering the 2 questions that Tara will put in the chat. And next week, Rich will talk about the role of the leader in building well-being norms. Our resources are always available to you. Please use them. And now I really look forward to your questions.